want. So please, let's adjust our fucking values.
Part of the non-proliferation treaty?
Well, hang on. You're
I'm
trying
asking
to
your
say
question. Don't analyse my question. Answer it if you can. If not, it's fine. If
I
it's
think,
too hard, don't answer.
I think that Britain has the right to possess nuclear weapons.
So we are exempt, as ever.
No.
Osama bin Laden did not allow any of the 3,000 people in New York and Washington on 9/11 any rights. He took away every single right that any of the people in those towers or their families had. He didn't grant any rights to the families or the victims of the 7/7 subway and bus bombings, which he inspired. It went on, and it's a good thing that the story has now finished.
It hasn't.
You know, I'm a gay man. I'd love to have gay marriage approved by the Catholic Church. But, you know, they're not going to. Meantime, I really, really wish that people would reserve their ire for the people who don't just want to stop me marrying, but want to throw me off a cliff. Much better way to spend your time.
Iran, because you didn't do so well in Iraq. Just go bomb Iran.
No,
go to another playground.
if you were yourself capable of subtlety, you'd...
Yeah, and the 9/11, the people that perpetrated 9/11 were not even fundamentalists at all, okay? At all. You guys make this connection all of the time. They were not. They were more secular than most... Oh, come on. Then you guys don't even know the history of the people, of the hijackers. Of the majority of the hijackers. Okay,
how can you keep speaking, let alone hosting a show, and know so little? How can you know so little and keep on talking? The 9/11 hijackers weren't fundamentalists?
Not in the way that you're talking about the burqa. No way.
Well, I haven't
look at where they came from. This was more of a political act to commit terrorism. It wasn't out of religious belief. You should get to know your history of the people that attacked the Twin Towers. It's not babble at all.
What babble? You are trying to... I don't know where on earth you're coming from on this. No serious person can even keep on saying the nonsense you're coming out with.
Well, if you read the letters that they left, most Muslims wouldn't do that. Read the letters that they wrote. They wrote to their girlfriends. They didn't invoke religious law. I mean, learn something about Islam before you say somebody's talking babble, okay? That's ridiculous.
It strikes me that you're speaking from a position of unique ignorance. I don't know, first of all, why it is you keep on using this term Islamophobia to attack all people who are criticizing fundamentalism. It's a quite cheap way to try to avoid an argument. And then you try to claim that people who fly planes into Twin Towers and the Pentagon and so on and blow up people in my city for the crime of going on the subway are not fundamentalists. Just read the tracts of their leaders.
Maybe fundamentalists in the fact that they wanted to create terror, but not necessarily out of religion, if you know the history of each one of those attackers. They're not. That's not true at all. That is very ignorant. Right, all right, let's go to Paris because we're running out of time. Let's go to Paris because we're...
Go and read any of the major texts on this and you'll learn.
I've learned, I know probably more than you'll ever forget. Go ahead.
Well, it's a good... I wish you'd tried to show it.
Okay, Anne.
I wish you'd tried to show it.
Elizabeth, go ahead.
That she exercises a different scale of values in London than she would, say, when she's meeting the head of Hamas in Damascus last year and praising the head of a terrorist group whose organisation carries out terrorist atrocities, which are genuine breaches of international law every single opportunity.
What about Fallujah in Iraq?
Well, I'm just...
What about Fallujah,
you talk about Tony Blair facing it. When you sit down with somebody like Khalid Mashal, you praise him.
Fallujah, I did not praise him.
You said,
I said
I've got his comments here.
He was worth talking to, and he was actually quite...
You said he was shrewd, plausible, and actually very likely.
All right, let's get back.
Let's get to uphold international law. That is my main point.
You've made your point.
I wish you told Karen Michelle.
Douglas Murray, can you...
Yasmin may think that that means that you should give that man a bomb. I think he should not get a bomb.
No, I don't think he should have a bomb. I do not think that in the interest... That's what I think.
I do not think that in the interest...
That is what I think.
You made it clear by pointing at me and shouting.
I will say to you again...
I saw gays for Palestine. Give me a break. If gays for Palestine were in Palestine, they'd have to move to Israel.
Why isn't Amsterdam the first place to get attacked?
I can assure you that you made a mistake there. The radicalisation of Muslim youth in Amsterdam is exceedingly worrying. Theo van Gogh was beheaded on the streets of Amsterdam by a young Muslim youth, working from a terror cell based in Amsterdam that fortunately was prevented before it blew up the headquarters of the Dutch intelligence service, the Dutch parliament, and Amsterdam airport.
was going to say, I think...
Okay, now to make my next point, to make my next point on that, I think it's very important to stress two things on this. Firstly, this false notion that everything about foreign policy is behind us. One of the interesting things, perhaps the most interesting thing in the Policy Exchange report, was the analysis of what young Muslims in the survey knew. So all of the blowhard stuff about, I am doing this for my Muslim brethren in Palestine, do you know what tiny percentages of them could even name the Palestinian Prime Minister? The tiny number of them that could name Ehud Olmert. The tiny number that I think could even locate these areas on the map. This is a great problem at the moment because demagogic Muslim leaders and others are taking advantage of their opinions. They are telling them they should be enraged about this, that their Muslim brothers are being abused, and that they should be more angry. And a lot of them think in response, yeah, I'll wind myself up about it, and I'll wind other people up about it. But do they ever bother to know anything about it? Do they ever bother to find out? Do they even satiate even basic curiosity? No. And one other thing that comes from this that ought to be said, has to be said now, is this. What if this were to do with foreign policy? I don't think it is. But what if it were to do with foreign policy? So what? So what? Is the British state going to take dictation for its foreign policy from a tiny community within its midst? I don't think so.
No. Editors, a paid member of the KGB. A paid KGB agent who said, oh, it was just a bit of a laugh. Oh, and it still is just a bit of a laugh. Because if it's communism, it's a bit of a laugh. 70 million dead here and there, a bit of a laugh.
Organisations that are struggling because £4 billion, £5 billion on a war that no one's asked for.
The people of Libya are suffering and the people of Afghanistan are suffering as well.
I'm going to tell you this now. People on the streets of London don't care. What they care about is their personal life.
Yeah, £200 million a day for Libya.
They care about the fact that they ain't got no job. They care about...
It might not be an either or. It might not be allowing it might not be allowing genocide in Libya or you getting more money for your group in London.
For you to...
Well, I mean, as I say, I come back to this thing, which is that even if any of these complaints were true, which they're not, even if they were true, at the moment the Prime Minister goes to Her Majesty the Queen to ask permission to use her armed forces. Are we really going to go to the Muslim Council of Britain to ask permission?
I think probably not.
From the 20th century had two dreadful totalitarianisms, fascism and communism. Some of the people who people in this hall would throw out from being ever allowed to speak are being thrown out because once they met somebody who once sat on a platform with somebody who was once a member of a fascist party. Well, I'm sitting on a platform with a communist. That would mean I could never again speak in public if there was any sense to this debate. But there isn't, because people have this debate so ruddy badly. All spend their time polishing their halos. Yes, we're against racism. Yes, we're against fascism. We're against lots of things, but it's going to require a bit more than that, and a bit more of this halo polishing, if you're going to deal with that. And as I say, it'll leave you with one final thought on that. If this battle is going to be won, it will not be won solely by the people sitting in Conway Hall here tonight. It will be won by a lot of people. We will have to make judgments along the way, and we'll disagree with them. I'll disagree with Mariam, I'll disagree with Shiraz, and all sorts of friends and colleagues. We'll disagree on individual cases and people. But the idea that you chuck whole swathes of people out of the debate is such a bloody left-wing thing to do. The left loves doing this all the time. The debate will be done on my terms. Well, how easy and how unsurprising it is that the terms are always drawn around themselves. I hope we can do a bit better than that. Thank you.